Hello everyone, welcome live to 3YTV tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series here from the beautiful Milwaukee Mile, the famed 1 mile racetrack that is of course at the fairgrounds here in Milwaukee. It is going to be one really fun race here tonight on this very flat track. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight, as always, is Bob Giaquinto. And Bob, great to be back here at Milwaukee. I think it's the first time here that the TNR series has come to this very flat racetrack since its return to the iRacing simulator. I'm looking forward to it here tonight because what we have seen out of these drivers over the past couple of weeks has been extremely awesome, and last week's finish was absolutely stunning.
For sure, an electrifying finish. It's something that we could not have even scripted if we wanted to. Blown tire leading to a couple of lapped cars coming together and really just kind of having an issue out front for the leaders, but that wound up, one man's stress turned into another man's triumph as the 17 of Ben Izinga wound up getting the win over the 21 machine of Nick Cohan. But looking for tonight's race, a relatively flat 1 mile oval, and this is going to be a fun race. I've been watching a lot of cars getting a little sideways there coming off of turn number 4, and as always, if we get to green flag pit stops, the pit road entrance here at Milwaukee is very treacherous.
Yeah, it's also a very short pit road. So this is one racetrack where I have seen it in the past where coming down and getting an extra set of tires isn't always a major disadvantage because of this pit road being so short. You can see it spans the length of the start-finish line, but with this racetrack also not being the fastest in the world, the pit road speed doesn't have that big of an effect. So might we see that here tonight if we get a long green flag run? I'm not 100% sure, but some of these drivers here in this particular practice session turning a lot of laps. Daniel Buttafuoco in the number 30 has turned near on 100 laps. Bill Edwards also on pit road right now. He has turned 112 laps in this practice session. Kevin Stone in the number 14, he's coming around to complete his 89th lap of the practice session. So some of these drivers here trying to get as much practice as they can because these drivers will be a little bit loose out there with this being a very flat racetrack. But I know this series has put a lot into the setup this week, and I'm very excited to see exactly how it is going to race here on 3YTV. Thanks for everyone joining us in the chat here tonight. As we have just 3 seconds left here in the practice session, it will be Daniel Buttafuoco and Anthony DeBarro, top 2 in the practice session.
Yeah, some really fast laps out there, Peter. 30.354 for Buttafuoco, and Anthony DeBarro 30.364. So some really quick laps out there, and with a 5-minute practice session, you're going to have to get out there as quick as possible to try to get some quick laps out there on the racetrack. And Peter, tonight's race a little bit different of a themed race here for the Total Nonstop Racing League. It's the Childhood Memories race. So we'll see a lot of drivers out there tonight with some different looking paint schemes, all representing their childhood memories, and it's pretty cool seeing some of these childhood memories schemes out there.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure. We'll just get a look at some of them. I don't think Tim Johnson remembers USAA from when he was a kid. There's the Desert Hobbies, number 14 of Kevin Stone. Now, Nick Chambrone has embraced it. He's got Warheads on the 01 machine, a really good-looking ride. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on the rear of that Toyota Supra. So he's one of the drivers participating in the Childhood Memories schemes. See if we can get someone else. What about Jason Freeman? Jason Freeman usually has a special paint scheme, but he does not here tonight. Mason Dixon Racing Esports on the number 20 machine. Not seeing any of the other drivers currently out there on the racetrack with one of those schemes. There is James Zorello popping in right there. He's got the Elizabeth Lorello Racing scheme on his Chevy Camaro. Briar Fritz, there's another driver participating. He's got a really cool-looking WWE scheme right there. He's got Raw on one side and SmackDown on the other. It's kind of a transition across the car. So that's one that is new to this race here tonight. We saw Colin Ullery, who's now missing a hood. He was missing a right front tire at the end of last week's race in the number 62. I think that Monster Energy juice machine right there. Obviously, Monster Energy is one of his childhood memories, but I'm not sure if the crew just forgot to put a hood on that number 62 or what, but yeah, Colin Ullery right there sporting that scheme. Now, Daniel Buttafuoco, fastest in practice, is just now headed out there on to the racetrack, working his way through turn number 3 and 4. And Bob, why don't we take the fans for a lap around the Milwaukee Mile?
Absolutely, and you see here coming down this long front straightaway, heavy braking here into the turn, and it's very easy to get the car out from underneath you and slide up the racetrack, but a great job keeping it right down there on the white line. Power down, you're going to have to get onto the gas very gingerly so you don't spin the tires coming up off of the corner, and the same goes here for turn number 3. You see that rumble strip there on your left-hand side of the screen. It's not exactly the most helpful here in oval racing, especially here at the Milwaukee Mile, but you're going to have to get back on the gas quickly and get off down that front straightaway as quick as possible. And so far, pretty good lap there. 30.357 is his best. That'll be provisionally second place right now.
Yeah, so Anthony DeBarro currently fastest here in the qualifying session by, like you said, they're just about a hundredth of a second. Now, Lupe Gonzalez out there on the racetrack right now, just coming around to start his lap time. There is Nick Cohan in the Perk Coffee number 21 machine. Was so close to getting the win last week at the Texas Motor Speedway. I'm sure he will want to forget that. Mike Floppy Tellier in the field here tonight in the FRN number 97. Jimmy McKee, the number 10 machine, there he is, working his way through turn number 3 and 4 on his second qualifying lap time, trying to pick it up on lap number 2. Currently good enough for 6th on the board as they currently sit. Goes across the start-finish line, and he will not appear to pick up on lap number 2, although Lupe Gonzalez is going to jump up to the 5th position. Mike Floppy Tellier slots into 12th. Briar Fritz doing some interesting strategies. Nick Cohan looks like his first lap is going to put him into the top 5, up into the 4th position for him. So he's going to try and go for a second lap here. James Dorello, on the other hand here, Bob, no time being scored for the number 13 machine. Not sure if he clipped the wall or something, but I think he's completed both of his qualifying lap times, and he's going to have to start near the back of the field, just waiting for some more drivers to qualify, but I think that's going to be it. So it looks like 17 drivers will take time. Briar Fritz turning a just stellar 2-minute 44.35. That is lightning quick, folks. Not really. But that is going to do it here for the qualifying session here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series here tonight, Bob. 150 miles here. It's going to be, I think, one heck of a show.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really good race. Tight, close quarters racing, but that's what the Total Nonstop Racing League is all about, and this is going to be a very, very strong race. It's going to be a good battle all race long, about 25 cars out there on the racetrack for tonight's race, and man, I'm just ready to get this thing going.
Absolutely. So let's start with tonight's starting lineup. On your pole, Anthony DeBarro by 18 thousandths of a second over Daniel Buttafuoco. Tim Johnston on row number 2 with Nick Cohan to his outside. So 3 Disney Motorsports machines inside your top 4 here to start off the Childhood Memories 150. Tristan Maher and Lupe Gonzalez on row number 3 with Josh Gerlach and Jimmy McKee on row number 4. Ben Izenga and Nick Chambrone are going to round out your top 10.
In 11th, the 50 of Bill Edwards, and on his outside is going to be the 14 of Kevin Stone. Now in the 13th position, Mike Floppy Tellier, and on his outside, Jason Freeman. John Borst and Colin Ullery in 15th and 16th. Briar Fritz and James Lorello round out row number 9. And in row number 10, the 55 of Stephen Dosiak Jr. And, well, it was race control, Justin White.
Yeah, and then back behind them, Garrett Gleason sporting one of those childhood memories throwback schemes. He will be rolling off 21st. Todd Kirkwood in the number 19 machine, Desert Hobbies Ford Mustang. He will actually move up 2 spots to 20th, thanks to the number 222 of Justin White not starting. Then Stephen Kegman, Austin Grover Back behind them, of course, there is the number 83, another one of those drivers sporting a good look here tonight for this special event. Absolutely love to see these special paint schemes out there. And just to take you through the remainder of your field here tonight, Jason Shu will be rolling off back there in his number 3 machine. But I'll tell you what, Bob, it is a quick lap here around this particular racetrack. We're getting set to go green flag here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series Childhood Memories 150. There goes the pace truck. I was a bit concerned about it pulling onto pit road there for a second, but Anthony DeBarro leads us off into turn number 1.
And a great start there by the 27 of DeBarro, and the rest of the field side by side as they get on back. Now the top 3 have decided to get back in single file. The 28 of Tim Johnson there right in front of Buttafuoco, but side by side there, battle for 4th between the 21 of Cohan and the 98 of Maher.
Yeah, looking a little bit further back, Ben Izenga, Jimmy McKee side by side, Lupe Gonzalez and Tristan Maher side by side. That's going to open up the door for Josh Gerlach in the Rugrats throwback. That number 71 is looking really, really good here tonight. Digging down there on the bottom side of Lupe Gonzalez. This will be the battle right now for the 6th position. Back behind them, Jimmy McKee and Nick Chambrone are continuing to run side by side, just inside the top 10. Anthony DeBarro just starting to skip away just a little bit. Tim Johnston in the 28 machine now working his way up into the 2nd position. He's got around Buttafuoco there in the number 30, so slide him back to 3rd. But it is a long race here tonight. Plenty of time to make up spots as we're hearing that we are under caution flag for the first time here tonight, believing that it was Jimmy McKee in the number 10 machine here. Bob, what happened to the number 10?
Yeah, it looks like he just might have gotten on the gas a little bit too hard here coming out of turn number 4. As you see him got the power down right there. And, oh, man, just barely clipping that inside wall on the left-hand side of his car. So a lot of damage there for the 10 of Jimmy McKee. Hopefully he's going to be able to get everything taken care of under the next yellow or so and get back in there for the race.
Yeah, let's go on board here with Jimmy McKee on this replay. You'll get to see a little bit of the hand movement there on the left-hand side of the screen coming out of the corner. You see that back end start to kick out and just got a little bit behind it there, Bob. And unfortunately, that's quite a bit of damage, and he will have to go to the back of the pack to get a lot of that damage repaired on that machine. But up at the front of the field, first caution flag here tonight. Let's go check out the chat, see what we have going on in the chat here tonight. Spencer Tart saying good luck S2R. Hondo Longmire saying if Borst is racing tonight, he has a sick paint job. Go check out John Borst because he is out there racing. There he is. Got the Luigi's Mansion Nintendo GameCube scheme. And I'll tell you what, I think my first ever experience with the Nintendo GameCube was at the supermarket, Bob, playing the demo of Luigi's Mansion. So that one is pretty close to my heart as well. So pretty cool to see John Bohr sporting that number 0 machine here tonight in his childhood throwbacks. Hondo Longmire saying them Dizzy Boys eating it up. The Windsors rooting on. Bill Edwards sporting a very patriotic scheme here tonight, as he often does in the number 50 machine. Johnny Williams saying good luck all and hello to the booth. I wish I could have been out there in my Scooby-Doo car. Oh man, Johnny, that would have been awesome. Todd Kirkwood saying hello all from the number 19 Desert Hobbies Mustang. Young Gibbs saying Nick sucks. Man, too much love in the chat for Nick Cohan. Are you talking about Nick Cohan or Nick Chambrone or both? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Young Gibbs not too happy in the chat, or probably too happy in the chat. One or the other. I think it's just a little bit of banter in the chat. Hondo jumping in saying Nick Cohan. So Nick Chambrone, you're off the hook in the 0-1 machine. But Cohan up there in the number 21 machine almost had that win last week at Texas Motor Speedway. If you did not see that finish, it definitely was one of the more interesting finishes that we have seen. Nick Cohan somewhat getting the bad end of a J.R. Hildebrand moment, but keeping things interesting here on 3Y TV, that is for sure, Bob, as hopefully we can get this pace truck off of the racetrack here shortly. Seems like some fairly lengthy caution flag laps here at the Milwaukee Mile. But this might give us an opportunity under these, if we get some more cautions. Hopefully we don't, but if we do, maybe we can jump in on some of these other drivers who did not participate in the childhood memory schemes and see if we can get their take on a childhood memory that maybe they're not sporting on their car here tonight. But good news is the pace truck lights have indeed turned off, finally.
Always a good day when you get the lights off on the pace car. We're going to get back ready to go green, and this is one of those tracks where cautions tend to breed cautions, so these drivers are really going to have to be extra careful as they head off into the corner. And I mean, especially on corner exit, like we already saw with the 10 of Jimmy McKee get himself turned around after lighting up the rear tires just a little bit too much. So this is going to be an interesting restart here. Hopefully everyone's able to get the tires under control and give us a nice green flag run.
Now bringing out the drone cam here, just waiting to see that green flag get whipped around by your flagman. Just a single car incident, so that's the good news. Pretty much all these other cars up at full strength for the restart. There is the green flag, and Anthony DeBarra will once again lead us up towards turn number 1 as they race down towards that apex that you see right down there. And Bob, that's something we're going to see in play here tonight, I'm sure, at some point, as Austin Grover back there goes way up high on the racetrack, trying to find some grip up on the top side and avoid any type of collision that there might be, because as you can see, folks, this field is pretty densely packed, but still led by Anthony DeBarra.
Yeah, densely packed field, but a good run there by DeBarra, able to jump out of corner number 4, down the front straightaway, able to lead that lap. He's led, I believe, all the laps that we've ran here tonight so far, but is that a little bit of damage there to the back end of the 21 machine of Nick Cohan?
It sure does look like it, and there's a little bit of front-end damage on the number 17 of Ben Izenga to match, so I'm thinking that the Air Canada number 17, who walked away with the win last week when Nick Cohan had his troubles coming to the checkered flag. And these two finishing, well, at least getting close together with one another. Unfortunately, this time it's early in the race and leading to a little bit of damage, so we'll see how that affects the 21 and the number 17 as the race goes on. I will say this particular racetrack, downforce is not super important because these corners are, not the fastest in the world. As we can see, if we can go on board here with Tristan Maher, bringing up the speed graphic in the bottom right, you see about 120 miles an hour in the corner, then down the long straightaway, about 150 before getting on the brakes to get it really wound up to kind of get down there to that white line. But one thing I'll be keeping my eyes on here tonight, Bob, is how many drivers decide to stray below that apron down there, below that yellow curb, that yellow rumble strip down there. There's actually quite a bit of grip if you can time it just right in turn number 1 and 2, where you can kind of cut down below it, maybe a quarter of a car length or so. At least personally, I've been able to find that groove to run. Meanwhile, Daniel Buttafuoco up at the front of the field. He's going for the race lead here coming out of turn number 2, and he's got it. Number 30 to the front, getting around DeBarra. Can he now set sail?
Yeah, it looked like the 30 was shot out of a cannon there coming out of corner number 2. Looked like the 27 might have pulled over just a little bit and said, you know what, we still have more than 100 laps to go. I'm just going to let it go right now. Plenty of time to catch up and let the 30 take the lead here for a little bit. But, man, Buttafuoco had a great run coming out of the corner and just blew by the 27 like he was standing still.
So definitely something to keep our eyes on, whether or not he's going to burn up those rear tires or not. I'm not 100% sure. Going back a couple of weeks ago to the Circuit of the Americas, Buttafuoco had a problem keeping his tires on the car for his last stint. Meanwhile, whoa, look at that. Ben Izenga and Tristan Maher, a late lunge by the 3 wide TV Ford of Tristan Thuggy Maher, and oh man, Izenga getting really high there coming out of turn number 2. But that late lunge, Izenga had to check up, and he was definitely mindful of it, and I'm sure he's going to remember that, because you know what they say about race drivers? They have the memory of an elephant. So we'll keep our eyes on that potential for some late race collision here going forward. Meanwhile, Izenga, I believe he's starting to struggle with that front end damage, as now he comes under fire from the number 71 of Josh Gerlach.
Yeah, just a tough break there for last week's winner, Ben Izinga. That front end damage, like you had mentioned, Peter, it's really not a very, very aero-dependent racetrack, but I mean, when you're getting speeds of 140, 150 miles an hour, that front end damage and that little bit of front end grip, that really is going to go away. So, it'll be a tough break there as we get a great battle for 17th between Fritz Kirkwood and the 10 of McKee.
Yeah, so these three right here was that a little bit of smoke that I saw? It was Kevin Stone. What happened here to Kevin Stone? Let's go see if we can get this one here on the 3-wide TV replay. Here is the number 14 machine, the Desert Hobbies Ford Mustang, running right in front of Bill Edwards. Was there a nudge? I think there might have been a little bit of a nudge. Stone doing a good job of just making minimal contact with the inside wall, but there was definite contact there, it appeared. Let's see if we can get another look at that one, maybe from the 3-wide TV blimp cam to confirm that here, Bob.
Yeah, so it looks like just a little bit of a nudge there by the 50 of Edwards, and a great job by Stone to keep the car down on the grass, not sliding back up into traffic and across the racetrack. So, kudos to him, but a tough break for the 14 machine of Kevin Stone.
Meanwhile, up at the front, your top two starting to pull away on driver in third, who is currently Tim Johnston over Nick Cohan. Tristan Maher is in fifth. Ben Izenga still sixth. Josh Gerlach still seventh. Nick Chambrone, Lupe Gonzalez, Jason Freeman continuing to round out your top 10. Just looking to see if there's any side-by-side action on the racetrack. Nothing right now, although Mike Floppy Tellier has a little bit of a look to the inside here of Colin Ullery in the number 62. Working their way through turn number 1. Tellier on that inside groove. Now, I'm surprised here, Bob, that I'm not seeing any drivers there adventure below that yellow curb. At least trying to make these passes. I expected to see some drivers try it. It's definitely one of those things where if you can find that little line down there, you can find a little bit of grip down there. Just no, big wiggle out of the 62 of Ullery coming out of turn number 4. Good job for him to keep it underneath. But I'm also seeing a little bit of possible right front damage on that number 62 from possible contact with the outside wall at some point here in tonight's race, here in the early going.
Yeah, and I'm surprised too, Peter, that they haven't gone down below that yellow line in turns 1 and 2. Like you'd mentioned, you really can get a lot of grip, especially on exit of the corner, as up front now we've got a battle for the lead.
Yeah, battle for the race lead. It is your top two right now. Anthony DeBarro, who started the race on the pole, with Daniel Buttafuoco, who started the race in second. 1-2 as DeBarro finds himself back up at the front of the field as we're working lap number 21 here tonight of the 150 that we have scheduled here at the Milwaukee Mile. They head down the back stretch here, front stretch here, and DeBarro now going to try and set sail. We saw Buttafuoco get out to about a half-second lead. DeBarro reeled him in, and you see those drivers running right there on that yellow rumble strip through turn number 1 and 2, opening up that gap now to the third position of Tim Johnston by almost 2 seconds, separating Buttafuoco and Tim Johnston as they currently run. However, let's see if we can go a little bit further back in the pack to around the 10th position. Look at this little train of cars. Josh Gerlach, Nick Chambrone, Jason Freeman, and Lupe Gonzalez. Gonzalez qualified the race in 6th, now running down in 10th. So Lupe needs to get things pointed in the right direction, see if Lupe can pick up some spots here as this run goes on, but a big slide coming out of turn number 2. That's not going to help those 4 Goodyear tires.
Yeah, definitely not, but Lupe able to get right to the back bumper of the 20 of Jason Freeman there. Gets a good run coming off the corner, but Freeman had a much better run. And, you really have to preserve tires here. It's a very flat track. you're going to heat up the right front and the right rear tires. You don't want to put too much heat on the rear tires coming off the corner. So, it's really all about balance and tire conservation, especially here, probably I'd say about midway through a fuel run right now.
Yeah, definitely closing in on that. And one thing that I'm curious about, Bob, is whether or not these drivers might be just shifting a little bit in these cars, because that's going to be something that I'm sure we are going to hear and potentially see at some point here tonight. Also, this is a racetrack where brake bias is extremely important. You really got to get that brake bias right and suited to your liking. Of course, if you're not familiar with the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series, these drivers run a fixed setup, which means they're not able to tinker with any of the suspension or the sway bars or anything like that. But the only thing they can actually tinker with is the brake bias. And having a front brake bias, or having one that favors the front, will make your car usually a little bit tighter on entry, versus a rear brake bias, which will loosen the car up on entry. But you can really use brake bias to tune the way the tires are going to wear as well. So if you're wearing the right front, maybe you should put a little bit more rear brake bias in it, or vice versa if you're wearing out the rear tires. So that's something that these drivers have to be really mindful of. They also have to back up their corners here at Milwaukee Mile. This racetrack is famous for drivers wearing out their right front because they brake too late into the corners. So that's something that these drivers will be fighting here throughout the entire race. Let's go back a little bit, pick up this battle back here. This is Bill Edwards, Colin Ullery, James Arello, 13th, 14th, and 15th. As you can see, the Chevrolet of Bill Edwards right there, the very patriotic scheme with Colin Ullery in the middle, and Bill Edwards' Silent Syndicate teammate there, James Arello, now looking underneath Ullery. A couple of these drivers here familiar. Oh, Nick Chambrone's gone around in the 0-1 machine. That's going to bring out the caution flag. As I was talking about that, let's see what we can figure out about Nick Chambrone here, Bob.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Didn't exactly see what had happened. He was racing with the 20 of Jason Freeman and the 35 of Lupe Gonzalez. And, looks like he turned right down on the 20 of Freeman, and unfortunately there was a car there and the 0-1 had to go around.
This is one of those things. Now, if you watch Formula One and you kind of saw what happened back a couple weeks ago with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, this is kind of a similar deal here, because Nick Chambrone, I think, expected Jason Freeman to be down there on the apron. You can see Jason Freeman at this point has a full car length below him. In fact, you can see Lupe Gonzalez in the 35 there taking advantage of it. But Chambrone expected the 20 to be a little bit lower on the racetrack, but he wasn't. They make contact, and unfortunately, Nick Chambrone gets the bad end of it. I'm sure Chambrone will be thinking, hey, you know what, that's on Jason Freeman. Jason Freeman, on the other hand, will be saying, hey, I think he came down on me. Let's get a look at this one here from the 3-wide TV blimp cam. You can see there's about a half of a car length between them. Now Chambrone's coming down the racetrack a little bit. Freeman might be coming up the racetrack. They kind of meet in the middle. There's contact, and that is very much like what happened back at the British Grand Prix in Formula One just a couple of weeks ago. But unfortunately, Chambrone kind of getting the bad end of that stick.
Yeah, and as long as we don't have a Bottas incident like we saw yesterday, everything should be good to go here for the Total Nonstop Racing League. But, just a tough break there with the 0-1 and the 20. Just kind of, he went this way while he went that way, and a couple of cars just met in the middle, and, the rest is history. But looks like a few cars stayed out on this round of pit stops. Looks like from... looks as the field's got to come around here, but a handful of cars there were able to wound up staying out this time by. So it's going to be interesting with a little bit of a different tire strategy here, just 31 laps into the race.
Yeah, of course, Total Nonstop Racing League does have tire limits, and because it has tire limits, it will quite often have different tire strategies throughout the field. Now, what I can say is, let's see if we can bring up the graphic, because the graphic might tell kind of the indication to everyone back at home on who did what. That's not the right one. We want pit stop time, not pit lane time, but we want pit stop time. So Ben Izenga, Mike Floppy Telliers, Bill Edwards, Colin Lillery, James Arello, you see their graphics are all yellow. Same thing with Lupe Gonzalez. Those are drivers who have not made a pit stop in the race at all. Breyer Fritz pitted under the first caution flag, but then you have the group of drivers who just pitted. Anthony DeBarro, Tim Johnston, Josh Gerlach. Those three drivers had about a 7-second or so pit stop, give or take, as Lupe Gonzalez appears to be coming down pit road right now. But with DeBarro, Johnston, and Gerlach only having about a 7-second pit stop, we know that those drivers probably only took fuel on those race cars. Buttafuoco, though, in 10th, he took 4 tires. A 14.7 second stop, that is definitely 4 tires. Jimmy McKee, that will definitely be fuel only. Nick Cohan, 17.6, that might be 4 tires plus, maybe a little bit of damage repair. So these drivers having kind of different strategies on pit road, so it's going to be fun to see how some of these drivers who didn't pit at all, like Izenga, Tellier, Edwards, Ullery, and Lorello, those drivers fare against the drivers who came down pit road to maybe add a little bit of fuel into their cars. And then you got the drivers like Buttafuoco on fresh tires. So different strategies here before we get back to the green flag, and we will very shortly, as the pace truck lights are off, it will say sayonara to the field, and Ben Izenga, Mike Floppy Tellier get us back to the green flag as the 17, last week's race winner from Texas, leads here at Milwaukee.
Yeah, good jump there by the 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier on the outside, able to hang with the 17 of Izenga, but not quite as much coming out of turn number 2, as he's about to fall into the clutches of Bill Edwards as they drive down the back straightaway.
Yeah, look at this grouping of cars. Breyer Fritz in the WWE machine goes way up the racetrack. Buttafuoco now in the number 30 on fresh tires, going to get to the outside of Anthony DeBarro. He will presumably get to the race lead here very shortly, assuming that the tire wear is as bad as we believe it is. Look at James Arella being thrown up to the high side, being deposed of that spot by Anthony DeBarro, at least down on the inside, as DeBarro is now behind the number 62 of Colin Lillery. He will have to fight him. Izenga continues to lead. Bill Edwards, his Silent Syndicate Racing teammate, is now in second as he worked his way around Mike Floppy Tellier. But this is some good battling happening up at the front of the field, and some patience is necessary here for Daniel Buttafuoco with those fresher tires. We believe he's going to be faster here, but he's just going to have to wait for that opportunity to get around some of these cars in front of him.
And there he goes right there, looking at the inside of the 27 of Anthony DeBarro, and man, that patience was being tested as he was surrounded by cars with older tires. Luckily, though, for the 30 machine, he's now on the inside, got a little bit of clear track ahead of him, and he'll make some good work out of the 27 of DeBarro. I'm not sure if there might have been a little bit of contact there, but DeBarro kind of shot up the racetrack going through 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely did. Tim Johnston in the number 28 machine. He's going to lose a spot to Colin Ullery, who is going to be in the 6th position. Lorello now behind Tim Johnston. As Buttafuoco, we saw him at the bottom of the screen there just a minute ago. He's going to make the pass on Mike Floppy Tellier with those fresh Goodyear tires. Now Buttafuoco, he's probably just wondering here, Bob, and kind of hoping that this race goes caution-free for a while so he can use that fresh rubber for as long as he can to kind of build up a lead. You also kind of want it to go a little bit long, as Mike Floppy Tellier are going to drop back behind Anthony DeBarro, move DeBarro now back up into the top 5. As Lorello and Ullery do battle, now Gerlach and Ullery will do battle. Gerlach looking to the inside of number 62, trying to bring Nick Cohan right with him. And remember, it was Colin Ullery and Nick Cohan making some very fateful contact late last week at Texas Motor Speedway. Cohan this time going to sneak on by the 62 without any issues. Let's go a little bit further back in the pack, because there's some great racing back there with some of these drivers that we haven't exactly highlighted here just yet. There's Austin Grover looking to the inside of the number 14 of Kevin Stone, one of the Desert Hobbies machine. There's Kristen Maher, who we believe got a pit road speeding penalty this last pit stop, so Maher had to drop to the tail end of the line. Maher, believe he only took fuel in his pit stop, but that little bit of a speeding penalty going to really work against him. There's Stephen Doziak Jr., the number 55 machine. sporting a little bit of a new look on his Toyota Supra this week. Gonna have to get used to some of the cars out there, but I can't remember, Bob, and maybe the chat can help us out if you can't remember. I'm guessing that's that makes sense. It's Grover from Sesame Street. That's what Austin Grover's got on the number 83 machine here tonight, as that makes sense with him being Austin Grover.
Yeah, that's a fantastic paint scheme, and really ingenious. That's not something I would have expected, but really awesome to see out there on the racetrack there for that 83 machine.
Meanwhile, Anthony DeBarro going to get around Ben Izenga for second. And Daniel Buttafuoco, we missed it, but he is your new race leader on those fresher tires. We will see how Buttafuoco made that pass on Ben Izenga for the race lead here. Don't think this is going to be all too difficult for Buttafuoco. Just going to look to the inside of the number 17. Izenga gives him plenty of room. He will know that the 30 has fresher tires, and just like that, that is how Buttafuoco took the race lead, and it is a big race lead as they currently run, because as you can see, Buttafuoco has checked out up to a 3.25 second lead, as you see Tim Johnston going side by side now with the number 50 of Edwards. So move Edwards now back to 5th and into the clutches of Nick Cohan. James Dorello, he is holding on to, was holding on to the position, but Josh Gerlach just got around him. So some of these drivers who did not come down pit road for fuel, they're starting to slide a little bit further back in the pack, and they're going to have a little bit less fuel than some of these other cars around them. I'm sure that will make them a little bit unnerved as well.
Yeah, definitely a smart strategy there by the 30 of Buttafuoco, but I mean, if I'm the rest of the field, I'm sitting here saying, all right, let's get a caution here. Let's kind of waste that set of tires that the 30 has and, you know, try to come back on even playing field now. But I'm sure if I'm sitting in that driver's seat right now, I'm screaming saying, man, I want a caution. I need some fresh tires right now, because these things are just not gripping, as we see a lot of drivers kind of meander their way a little bit further up the track as the car slides and loses grip.
Yeah, we're looking right now a little bit further back, focusing on Colin Ullery here. He's currently being scored in 15th position, so he has been definitely sliding back here since the drop of the green flag that got us back to racing just about 10-15 laps ago now. Ullery running right in front of Lupe Gonzalez and right behind Jason Freeman, trying to hug that low line, definitely getting a little bit sideways right there through the center of turn number 3 and 4. That will give Lupe Gonzalez presumably a good run out of turn number 4, as he was able to get the power down just a little bit sooner. And sure enough, Gonzalez to the inside. Can the number 35 clear the 62? Sure does look like it. So move Gonzalez now up to 15.
Yeah, smart move there by the 35 machine. Solly had a better run coming out of turn number 4, and was able to pounce on the entrance of turn 1. The 62 slid up, and he was able to get right up ahead. And right now, a good battle, though, starting to brew here for 3rd place between Izinga and Edwards. Pardon me, 4th.
Yeah, there goes Nick Cohan in the number 21 machine. Gonna just squeak on by in the Perk Coffee number 21. So Cohan now up into the top 5. Let's see what's going on a little bit further back. Here is Mike Floppy Tellier. Looks like Jimmy McKee in this group, as well as James Lorello. Lorello really getting pushed up the racetrack right there by Mike Floppy Tellier. That will allow Jimmy McKee, who was involved in the only car involved in the first caution flag here tonight. He's going to look to the inside of Lorello, and he is going to stay inside the top 10 here, as Nick Chambrone recovering after that spin here just a little while ago after there was contact, I believe, with Jason Freeman. Freeman, I think, might have been given the blame of that accident, not 100% sure. Freeman currently being scored in 13th, but Chambrone makes that pass on Lorello and brings John Borst in the 0 machine with him. As you see now, Jimmy McKee and Mike Floppy Tellier getting a little bit close with one another out of turn number 4, and that Warhead 01 looming in the rear view mirror.
Yeah, just getting a little bit racy there between these guys, but a good battle and a clean battle here, as the 97 somehow making it stick out on that second groove. you don't really see that a lot here in Milwaukee, where that second groove, normally you're kind of going to get freight train back. It's typically a low line kind of racetrack, but the 97 able to hang tough and stay on the outside.
Yeah, so now Chambrone has a little bit better, I'd say, of a drive into turn number 1, and he will clear the 97. Although Tellier is still trying to play tough in the Flat Out Racing Network. Chevy Camaro, don't think he's going to have anything for Chambrone. Can Borst get on by him? We'll find out. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, on the fresh tires, Daniel Buttafuoco is checking out. Up to a 7-second race lead right now, which is absolutely monstrous, as right now we are currently working the 1/3 race distance here at the Milwaukee Mile, the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds. Nick Cohan, the number 21, battling for 4th with Ben Izenga. Been some good hard racing between a lot of these drivers here tonight. Andrew Himmelman jumping in the chat here. Hondo Longmire saying Super Grover. Steven Doziak saying this track reminds me of Twinnery. So Hondo Longmire saying Chambrone spun because he is worried about me beating him again Wednesday night. I'll tell you what, Chambrone, if you're watching the race right now, or maybe you're watching on replay, that's fighting words. Absolutely fighting words in the world of sim racing. But we love those types of things, for sure. As I have no idea why. Oh, no, never mind. Everything's good. I saw something and I'm going crazy. Yeah, never mind. Nick Cohan and Ben Izenga are going to trade spots here into turn number 1. Cohan going to get on by. Ben Izenga, Bill Edwards now getting really close with one another. The two Silent Syndicate Racing teammates.
Man, you could really fit these 3 drivers under a blanket here. Some good side-by-side racing, and I don't know if there was a little bit of payback there between the 21 and the 17, but man, they were getting really close on the back bumper of each other there for a little bit, and now here's Edwards looking to try to make a move down underneath the 17 of Izinga. Let's see if he's going to dive down there. No, he thinks second of it, but some good hard battling here between these 3 drivers.
Yeah, so we got this battle going on right now. We also got a little bit further back, James Zarello and Lupe Gonzalez. They're really close as Nick Chambrone leads this little grouping of cars out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can bring up the graphic that shows you exactly where all the cars are relative to one another on the racetrack. Garrett Gleason, the number 7 machine, has just fallen a lap down to the number 30 Buttafuoco, as Gonzalez now inside of James Zarello before turn number 1. Again, hard on the brakes, makes a solid pass right there. Going to use the tires on that number 35 machine. If you're wondering, Lupe Gonzalez, one of the drivers who did not take tires under that pit stop on lap number 30. In fact, Lupe Gonzalez came back down pit road on lap number 31, maybe thinking about fuel mileage. Not sure why Gonzalez would have come back down pit road, but he did. So he started at the tail end of the field and has now worked his way back up to 12, but that's still 6 positions down from where that number 35 rolled off the grid here in the Childhood Memories 150 at the Milwaukee Mile.
And Peter, I'm getting word now that Breyer Fritz has taken his car back behind the wall. He had gotten into a little bit of an incident coming off of turn number 4, very similar to how Jimmy McKee got into the wall coming out of 4 in the beginning of the race. He had gotten a little sideways, caught the inside of the wall, had kept the car going, so obviously there was no caution, but unfortunately Breyer Fritz has retired from tonight's race.
Yeah, so let's see if we can see what happened here. This is the number 16 machine. This was him, I think, pulling it onto pit road. So that I don't think we're going to be able to see when the initial accident happened, but that was him retiring his race car, unfortunately. So right now, Daniel Buttafuoco up to a 10-second race lead, just pulling away now on the 27 of Anthony DeBarro, as we got the 55, Steven Doziak, looks like he's coming down pit road. James Zarello, the number 13, is on pit road. So these are some of the drivers, I think, who elected to stay out, Bob. under that last caution flag. They're now having to pay the price because of the fact that this race has gone caution-free since around lap number 30. So a little bit of a good green flag run now coming around. Ben Izinga, number 17, he's in that same boat. And now it's starting to become a bit more apparent why Lupe Gonzalez decided to come back down pit road, because he came down pit road on lap number 130, or excuse me, lap number 31, with 121 laps to go, or thereabouts. And then we got some cars on pit road right now just pitting on lap number 60. So that kind of gives me an indication that I think they're a little bit close on fuel, these drivers who came down pit road around lap number 30, on making it on just one more stop. It's going to be a little bit of tight because obviously those drivers who made it to lap number 60 had some caution flag laps to help them get to lap number 60 or thereabouts. So you do the math back at home. It's going to be tight. I don't think it's exactly doable, especially if you're not if you're running kind of the pace that Daniel Buttafuoco is running up at the front of the field with his 10-second advantage. Although last time by, Anthony DeBarra did close in on him a little bit. As you see, Stephen Kekman, he is going to go a lap down here. And my question for you here, Bob, is Stephen Kekman's got Angry Orchard. Do you think that's a childhood memory?
I was wondering that in the pre-race. I don't believe so, unless Angry Orchard makes apple juice. Then that could definitely be a childhood memory, but I have a feeling that he's not participating in the childhood memory themed race for tonight.
Yeah, yeah, that's just his normal scheme. We just giving him a hard time. Question for the chat here tonight: what would your childhood memory be if you could have a childhood car here on the channel? What would it be? We want to know. Well, what would you want on your car? Would it be a TV show? Would it be a toy? I'm actually kind of disappointed we don't have a Tonka car out there. I was hoping to see a Tonka car, but we don't have one. Hondo Longmire in the chat saying the Atari 2600. That's actually really cool. You could do some cool things with some of those old Ataris. You could get some wood grain on your car with the Atari logo. Very, very cool. You could even have kind of the single button for the controller for some of the old Atari. That'd be kind of cool. I'd be really, really interested to see who could come up with a cool Atari scheme like that. Johnny says you already know mine. Yeah, that's true. You said yours was going to be Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you? And unfortunately, probably Johnny Williams, where are you here tonight? Unfortunately, not able to go out there onto the racetracks. We did see a little bit of a puff of smoke there out of turn number 4. Not sure what that puff of smoke was from. Might have been one of the drivers coming off pit road, maybe just lighten up their tires a little bit. As you see this battle right now between the two Desert Hobbies Ford Mustangs, the last two cars on the lead lap, Todd Kirkwood and Todd Kirkwood and Kevin Stone, right in front of Daniel Buttafuoco, your race leader here, Bob. They're just trying to hold on for dear life and hoping they see a caution flag here shortly.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to want to try to get as many or get that yellow flag out as fast as possible. But unfortunately for the 19 of Kirkwood, he just fell one lap down, and the 14 of Kevin Stone is about to go one lap down here. So right now, this is going to be that battle for the lucky dog if a yellow flag were to come out. Right now, the 14 would be getting his lap back, and the 19 is just kind of sitting there stuck one lap down unless he takes the wave around. But, I mean, at this point in a green flag run, I'm sure a lot of drivers who haven't pit yet are really hoping for a caution so they don't have to pit under green.
So we think that the next kind of wave of drivers to come down pit road will probably be coming down around lap number 85 or so. So about 20 laps or so from now. We'll see whether or not that is the case. Now, Bill Edwards is on pit road in the Silent Syndicate racing machine. There he is in his pit box. So he will make it to lap number 65 here tonight. Of course, the magic number here, Bob, would be whether or not these drivers who pitted around lap number 30 would be able to get to lap number 90. Because if they can, that means we will know that they are in the window to make it on just one more pit stop here tonight. at the Milwaukee Mile. And 60 laps here is not exactly out of the picture, I don't think, with a full fuel tank here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. So I'm not saying these drivers just need one more pit stop or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, as Buttafuoco works his way around the racetrack now up to an 11.5-second lead. Although a lot of the drivers behind him, like Tim Johnson, who recently made the pass for the second position on Anthony DeBarro, he's got an extra set of tires on pit road, so if you get some late race cautions, that will kind of give an opportunity for some of these drivers to come down and get fresher tires at the expense of Daniel Buttafuoco, who has one less set in his pit stop. So, gonna be fun. Anyone else chiming in on what's going on? Johnny Williams saying family emergency kept me away from tonight's race, but all is good. That is good to hear, Johnny. Never like to hear family emergency, but do like to see and hear, but all is good. Hopefully that is in terms of the family emergency, and hopefully everyone can get to being better in whatever it might be. But we pick up this battle right now. This is Nick Chambrone, Jason Freeman, and Tristan Thuggy Mayer right now. This is the battle for the 8th position out here on the racetrack brewing between the 01, the 20, and the number 98. And Jimmy McKee is not all too far in front of these three. He's currently running in the 7th position. John Borst has scooted away just a little bit in the 0 machine. He is running in 6th. He's a half second or so, 1.3 seconds ahead of Jimmy McKee as they run right now. But some good battling here tonight at Milwaukee as we are closing in rapidly on the halfway mark here in the Childhood Memories 150.
Yeah, and I'm going to knock on wood right now so I don't jinx it, but this has been a pretty quick race. I mean, we're already 71 laps into this, and we're getting a lot of great battles and clean battles at that. We're not seeing a lot of cautions, only 2 cautions that we've seen so far in this race. So some really good racing here, 72 laps into it, and this is going to be a good one as this race goes on.
Yeah, that is for sure. So just kind of into a quiet portion of the race, I would say. Some of these battles have now kind of festered, and this one here continues to fester between these three, as it seems like Chambrone has now caught the number 10 of Jimmy McKee. To make this a battle for the 7th position now between these drivers. Looks like Chambrone has opened up the door on Jimmy McKee, got to the inside, a great lunge there into turn number 1. Jason Freeman, he might be thinking of taking it 3 wide. That doesn't exactly work here at the Milwaukee Mile. At least it doesn't typically, as Freeman, pushes up the racetrack a little bit, almost gets into the quarter panel of Jimmy McKee. But now McKee's kind of stuck in that high line, and this is almost like a short track where if you get stuck in that high line, sometimes you get freight trained, and that looks like what's happening to that number 10 machine right now.
Yeah, and especially with how flat this racetrack is, it's not really progressively banked like we see some other tracks. So you're not going to have that additional banking the further up the track you go. So, once you get out of that preferred line, you're going to get freight trained back just a little bit, like we saw that 10 machine of Jimmy McKee do. And right now, though, the 20 of Jason Freeman all over the back bumper, the 01 of Nick Chambrone.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Now, what is also pretty crazy is if you look at where your race leader is relative to these drivers right now. Let's watch our eyes. So this is that battle. Nick Chambrone right here. There's your race leader. Your race leader of Daniel Buttafuoco is catching up to this battle for the 7th position. Definitely, I gotta say, Bob, the right call under that caution flag on lap number 30 to take tires. He's up to a 12-second lead, and now looking at putting this group of drivers 1 lap down. I mean, that's absolutely crazy if he can do so and can also make the rest of the race on just 1 more pit stop, because if this race goes caution-free, Buttafuoco is in 100% the right position to be in. But I did mention earlier in the race, folks, that the pit road here at this particular racetrack is kind of short. but I'm not seeing the fall off I was expecting to see here tonight. Buttafuoco's best lap of the race, a 30.7. His last lap was a 32.26, so only about a second and a half of fall off here over this extended run for Buttafuoco, as now he looks to the inside of Jimmy McKee, your 10th place driver, about to go one lap down. Tires do matter. I mean, obviously that's what we're seeing here, is Jimmy McKee has 30 lap older tires than Buttafuoco, but at this point, that fall off is just not as crazy. Oh man, Jason Freeman there looking to the inside of Nick Chambrone, but Chambrone might have just been throwing a block on Jason Freeman there before they got to turn number 1. But these drivers will know they have the race leader in their rearview mirror.
Yeah, if I'm Buttafuoco, I am terrified right now looking at how hard these 3 drivers in front of me are racing. I don't want any of this, especially with how close to the back bumper the 20 is of the 0-1. I would not want to see any of this out of my windshield right now. And if I'm Buttafuoco, I'm sitting there and I might be thinking, okay, I have a 12-second lead. I can take my time just kind of whittling my way through this bit of a battle and kind of going at it from there. But as I say this, Buttafuoco looks to the inside of the 98 of Maher, and now the 20 of Freeman is under attack by the 98. Oh, close. No contact there, but super close between the 20 and the 98.
Yeah, so big wiggle there from the back of the number 20 of Jason Freeman. That will give Buttafuoco an opportunity to, I thought it was going to give him an opportunity to get to the inside of Jason Freeman. It does. Freeman now has to go up the racetrack. He was really pinching Buttafuoco, and now Freeman again gets loose. Coming out of turn number 2. Man, had 2 big wiggles out of the number 20 machine. Let's go back and see if we can get that one here on the 3-wide TV replay. But that was a good save from that driver in the number 20 machine.
Yeah, a bit of a tank slapper there down the back straightaway. And, you know, I can only imagine. Look at his hands right now. Coming out of the corner, everything seems pretty normal. Oh, steering to the right. Hold on, got to save it a little bit more. Finally able to get the thing under control. And, you know you're sideways when you have to turn the car right towards the wall to keep it going in a straight line, and man, that was sideways.
It definitely was. Now, right now, we're looking at the 7th place of Nick Chambrone getting passed by Daniel Buttafuoco. So Daniel will put the 7th place driver 1 lap down before they get to turn number 1. Tristan Maher trying to follow Buttafuoco on through. Maher here showing some great long-run pace. We know that Maher here did not take tires on the number 98 car under the pit stop on lap number 30. So he's one of those drivers that has a fresher, at least an additional set, compared to some of the drivers who did take tires on lap number 30. But the bad news for Maher is he finds himself a lap down and a big wiggle out the back of the 3-wide TV machine. You see some right side damage on the number 98. We wonder how much that's affecting him here tonight at Milwaukee. But your race leader is definitely starting to pull away, and this is currently the battle for the lucky dog position. And it's a pretty big one, because right now Buttafuoco has a long ways to go to get to the back of John Borst, who really is scooting away from that group. We saw Borst only about a second and a half or so in front of Nick Chambrone, maybe 20 or so laps ago, but he's now 6 seconds up the road, laying down some really good lap times right now.
Yeah, just some quick laps, and at this point of the race, you just kind of have to have your head down, just put in laps. A caution likely is going to come, and just kind of put your head down and keep trucking, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
That is definitely the case. I think we just saw Garrett Gleason pull off onto pit road, so the number 7 machine got Hank Hill on the top of the number 7 machine this week, as we see Maher again trying to go around Chambrone, but Chambrone's making the 0-1 extremely wide. Maybe a bit sour like a warhead, trying to hold on to that 7th spot.
That's for sure. And oh, look at that. Another huge block down the racetrack between the 01 and the 98. And that's just about got everyone stacked up as the 17 of Ben Izinga right on the back bumper of the 98 machine. And Jason Freeman back a little bit. The 83 might have gotten into the wall just a little bit in front of these guys, but man, this is some incredible racing right now. Very clean, and man, it's aggressive if anything.
Now, Ben Izenga, the number 17 Chevy Camaro right here on your screen, is battling for position with these drivers. However, Izenga came down pit road on lap number 57, so he has significantly fresher tires than Nick Chambrone, Tristan Maher, and the group. Same thing with Bill Edwards, who is also trying to work his way through this mess of cars right now. They are not making it easy for these drivers on the fresher tires. Looks like Edwards is going to catch Tristan Maher here. Jason Freeman in the number 20 continuing to get completely slideways, way out of the groove there. Now Edwards here, let's go on board with him as he navigates this traffic to the inside of Maher. Now trying to get to the back of Nick Chambrone, gives a little bit of a nudge to the back of the 01 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Is that, I don't know what you'd call that there. Was that a lip slide? No, I don't know what you could liken that to in terms of Tony Hawk Pro Skater terms, but now Edwards is to the high line of Maher as he flips to the other groove. This is pretty zany out there on the racetrack, trying to see these drivers. They're racing, Bob, like it's the last lap.
Yeah, and then someone's got to go down there and remind them, okay, there's 62 or 72 laps to go, so we're only halfway here through the race. So, oh man, they're really running like there's only a couple of laps to go. But as we see now, green flag pit stops, the 98 of Maher and the 20 of Jason Freeman down there on pit road, Peter.
And more importantly, we're just now getting to that magic number of lap number 90, where these drivers, we're looking at Daniel Buttafuoco, he was last on pit road on lap number 29, so he will have made it 60 plus laps since he was last on pit road. We believe that gets him in the window where this next pit stop might be the final pit stop of the race if we continue to go caution free. And what a pit strategy call it might be for the number 30 to have decided to go out there and take tires under that yellow flag pit stop cycle that we had many laps ago now. Nick Cohan, the number 21, is coming to his pit box right now in the Perk Coffee Roasters machine. He will see his pit crew sign right about there. The number 21, ooh, it looked like he went a little bit long in the box, but iRacing has decided to pit him anyway, so that's good news for him. Here's your race leader, Daniel Buttafuoco, on pit road. The number 30 will come to his pit crew. He started this race in second and hits his marks nice and neatly. So we got our leaders coming down pit road. Anthony DeBarro, the DeBarro Sliders 27, he's coming down to his pit crew. Lupe Gonzalez has come down a little bit early. I was expecting Lupe Gonzalez to go another lap or two, because remember, he topped off with fuel under that caution flag on lap number 31. So he's coming down a little bit earlier than I expected. Josh Gerlach on pit road. Nick Chambrone on pit road. Here comes Jimmy McKee on pit road. Tim Johnston, who was your race leader on pit road. Oh my goodness, a little bit of bumping and banging. What's going on pit road? This is, I don't know what's going on. These drivers kind of acting like slinkies on pit road, going back to the childhood memories and the childhood toys. But might have been a little bit of bumping and banging like they were in Little Tykes.
Man, someone has to remind these drivers that Talladega is next week with all the bump drafting. Just, I don't know what was up with that. The 01, I don't know if the 01 couldn't find his pit stall or what, but you see right there, they check up the 28, another checkup, a third checkup, and then the 01 and the 10 just kind of crossed into each other, and wow, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, seems like Tim Johnston's out there A-OK. Hopefully he doesn't have a lot of damage on his car. There's the Luigi's Mansion number 0 of John Borst. Kevin Stone, the Desert Hobbies Ford on pit road right now. There's Jason Freeman in the number 20. Just looking for any pit road speeding penalties or anything like that. Tim Johnston obviously having a very lengthy pit lane time in the number 28 after that contact. Stephen Kegman had a very lengthy pit lane time as well. Hearing Jason Freeman had a lengthy stop, a 22-second stop. Not sure what that was about, which led him to have a very lengthy pit lane time, as he's out there right now in front of Jimmy McKee, Nick Chambrone, and Lupe Gonzalez. So how has this all cycled on out, you might be wondering? Daniel Buttafuoco is still your race leader after everything cycled on through. Ben Izenga, the number 17, is currently in second. However, Izenga is finding himself about 10 seconds off the race lead right now, with Bill Edwards right back behind him. There is the number 50 machine. Tim Johnston is currently being scored in the 4th position, right in front of Nick Cohan. James Zarello is in 6th, but of course we highlighted Ben Izenga, Bill Edwards, and James Zarello. Those 3 S2R teammates, they were all on pit road around, but between kind of lap number 56 and lap number 60. So all of those drivers here, Bob, on significantly older tires. They're up there inside the top 6 right now, but they need a caution flag to kind of get back on cycle with your race leaders.
Yeah, definitely. And as we see now, the 17 of Ben Izenga heading down pit road. He was out there for about 38 laps or so since the last time he had pitted. So he sees, okay, there's just over 60 laps to go. I think I can make it to the end from here. But, I mean, barring a caution, we've seen some of these drivers make it 60 to 62 laps. I mean, they're going to have to stretch it if they want to go all the way to the end now at this point. And, if there's a green-white checkered, who knows who can make it.
Yeah, definitely an interesting strategy by Izenga and Zarello. If I was them, I probably would have tried to stretch it out just a little bit longer. And maybe that's what Bill Edwards is doing here in the number 50. He did not pit with his teammates. But, yeah, kind of an interesting call for the S2R teammates. Maybe they didn't completely fill their cars or something, not sure. Will Bill Edwards come down pit road this time? He will indeed. So they did not make it all too long. Like you said there, Bob, only about 40 or so laps. We think they could have gone at least another 20 or so, at least on fuel. We got another car up there, top of your screen coming down pit road. That is Steven Doziak Jr. Not sure if if this is a scheduled pit stop or not. Colin Ullery also coming down pit road in the 62, coming to his pit crew. But we did mention that the pit lane time here is relatively short, and that's kind of good for these drivers coming down pit road, because they're not going to lose a whole lot of time, at least relative to some other tracks like Daytona and Talladega. But the bad news is the tire fall off here tonight has not been anywhere close to what we expected it to be, as now that number 30 Buttafuoco up to a 18. Yes, I said that right. An 18-second lead over the 28 machine of Tim Johnston. He is having a whale of a time up at the front of the field here, Bob. At 18 seconds, you could basically coast an entire lap around here and not lose the race lead. That's the type of lead this number 30 has. He has all but your top 5 one lap down, and the 5th place driver right in front of him is Mike Floppy Tellier. And that would then put only 4 cars on the lead lap. Buttafuoco, Tim Johnston, Nick Cohan, and Anthony DeBarro. But Tellier would be in the lucky dog spot, but Tellier is another one of those drivers here, Bob, who pitted on lap number 60, so his tires are pretty old. He's not going to put up a lot of a fight here, as that's it. We're down to just 4 cars on the lead lap.
Wow, and that just shows the dominance that this 30 of Daniel Buttafuoco has, where he was able, don't forget, he stopped during that first or second caution to get fresh tires, while everyone else either came down pit road to get fuel only or didn't pit at all. So that was how he was able to get out to such a big lead, and then he was able to just maintain it as he's going to go around the 83 of Austin Grover here on the inside. So a really smart pit strategy there in the beginning of the race really set him up for now a 1-lap lead over the majority of the field.
Yeah, a majority of the field it is. Anthony DeBarro is still quite a ways in front of Buttafuoco at this current stage of the race. DeBarro has actually lost out that 3rd position now to Nick Cohan in the number 21. You see Tim Johnston right in front of Nick Cohan. So when did these drivers last come down pit road? Well, Tim Johnston has 2 lap fresher tires than Nick Cohan. Anthony DeBarro came down kind of the lap in between the two. So DeBarro has 1 lap fresher tires than Cohan. He's kind of just out of this picture. There he is in the DeBarro Sliders Toyota Camry. So he's a ways behind his Dizzy Motorsports teammate. Maybe getting a little bit dizzy around this racetrack because this racetrack here, Bob, once you find the groove, you kind of find the groove. This is a rhythm racetrack. You really have to find it. And I'm sure some of these drivers have, like Buttafuoco, and have kind of settled into a rhythm throughout this race.
Yeah, it really is a rhythm type of racetrack. You have to hit your marks each and every time. And, you know, as we see here as we ride on board with the 27 of Anthony DeBarro, really just kind of skirting that painted white line in the rumble strips down there in turns 1 and 2, and then diving down a little bit of a shallow entry here in 3 and 4, maybe coming up about a quarter of a car length, and then putting the power down and almost diamonding that apex as they come out of turn number 4. So you really have to just kind of ride your momentum, hit your marks, and get into a bit of a groove and just kind of log laps at this point of the race.
But logging laps at this stage of the race is not what this group of drivers is doing. Jason Freeman, Nick Chambrone, James Arella, Lupe Gonzalez all find themselves back together out there on the racetrack. I mean, how many times have we seen this group of drivers battling for spots here throughout this race? Chambrone there right behind Jason Freeman. Freeman came down pit road a couple laps earlier than Nick Chambrone, just 3, however, so maybe Freeman's a little bit older tires might start to affect him here as this run goes on. But look at James Lorello in the picture. Lorello pitted on lap number 95, so with Lorello's presumably 5-lap pressure tires, he should be able to make this pass on Nick Chambrone, you would think. However, not seeming to be easy just yet, as maybe Lorello giving a little bit of a nudge to the back of 0-1. Not the first time we've seen someone give a little bit of a love tap to the Warheads machine. Hopefully whoa, big slide from Jason Freeman. Not the first time we've seen that here tonight, as the number 20 has a big long slide into turn number 1.
Yeah, I don't know if there's just too much of a brake bias issue there towards the rear, making him really slideways into the corner, but man, a big moment there for that 20 of Jason Freeman as we see, the 7 of Garrett Gleason into the wall. But now Mike Floppy Tellier down on pit road. I don't know if this is a scheduled stop or not, but Tellier probably will be able to make it the rest of the way here on fuel should we stay green.
Yeah, so what we have now seen, we believe, is every driver make their final pit stop, assuming this race goes green flag to the end. A caution flag would obviously change everything. As I say, it would change everything. We'd still only have 4 drivers on the lead lap. Can you believe that? As Daniel Buttafuoco's decision to take tires early in the race on lap number 30 has significantly paid off for him as he continues to extend the gap between himself and Tim Johnson. Now just fringing on 19 seconds. But it seems like Nick Chambrone able to hold on to the spot. Lorello now up to 12th. Lorello made that pass on Jason Freeman with Freeman's huge slide. I wonder here, Bob, if Lorello, who has 5-lap pressure tires, whether or not he can make the pass. He's definitely looking to the inside of Chambrone. Might have given a little bit of a nudge off into the corner. Chambrone throws a big block, and look who's creeping up into this picture. That is, contact by the 27 machine, and Lorello goes around. Lupe Gonzalez involved. Caution flag waves.
Oh, man, a tough break there for the 35 of Lupe Gonzalez. What a great battle there between the 01, the 13, as well as the 20 there. But looks like the 01 threw a bit of a block. The 13 got into him. And then just a little bit of a coming together. The 27 got into the 13, slid him up the track, and oh, man, nowhere for the 35 to go. And then just a tough break there. And the 30 of Buttafuoco almost got involved there, as well as the 13 was backing up. The leader had to kind of make a bit of a evasive maneuver as he was coming out of the corner there under yellow too.
Yep, and just nowhere for the number 35 machine to go. Let's see if we can get maybe one more look at this one on board here. Let's see if we can jump on board with Anthony DeBarro. He's looking to the inside here of Lorello, gets right there to the center of the corner, just gives him a little bit of a nudge. I'm sure that was not at all intended, but that will bring out only the 3rd caution flag tonight. And now things not looking all too great for Daniel Buttafuoco, because He, in that number 30 machine, has one set of tires less than most of the field. Looks like here he's going to stay out, but Tim Johnston, Nick Cohan, Anthony DeBarro, DeBarro's staying out, but looks like Tim Johnston, Nick Cohan are coming down pit road. Maybe they will decide to put on a fresh set of tires. Did Cohan stop long in his pit box? No, he didn't. Man, that's about as close as you can get. Just trying to pick up who is the lucky dog. Looks like it is going to be the 71 of Josh Gerlach, who will become only the 5th driver to be on the lead lap when we go back green flag here shortly.
And that is absolutely crazy, and that just shows how strong of a performance that 30 of Buttafuoco has had on tonight's race. Only 5 cars now on the lead lap, and that's going to be tough and a little bit frustrating now if you're the 71 of Josh Gerlach. You're starting in 5th, which is awesome, but in reality, you're starting about 22nd to 23rd with all of the other cars in front of you since he's the lucky dog driver. So, you know, it's going to be a little bit frustrating here if I'm the 71 machine just kind of picking my way up through traffic. Even though I'm in 5th, I'm really back in, the 20s somewhere.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see exactly how that might shake up things, because the further back you are, the more impatient you're going to be. Being off the lead lap and being even in 5th or 6th or 7th or something like that is going to be really frustrating, and that might lead to maybe some drivers being a little bit frustrated, maybe some argy-bargy racing here. We will wait and find out here, but it has been a extremely long run, almost 100 laps here. I think the official tally was about 82 laps of consecutive green flag racing. Extremely awesome to see that at a very tricky racetrack, but it has, of course, been a lot of the field succumbing to Daniel Buttafuoco's high-intensity pace, putting them 1 lap down. As they run right now, John Borse is in the lucky dog position, although we had some takers on pit road like Tristan Maher, Jimmy McKee, Nick Chambrone. They decided to come down and get 4 tires, but the big storyline is going to be your top 2, Daniel Buttafuoco and Anthony DeBarro. As DeBarro in the 27, DeBarro, see here, Bob, DeBarro was deemed the reason for the caution. He's going to have to take an end of longest line penalty here, and so he's going to drop to the tail end of the field. So that leaves Daniel Buttafuoco up at the front of the field in the number 30. He did not come down and take tires. Meanwhile, Tim Johnston and Nick Cohan did, because we know that those drivers had 1 set of tires left on pit road relative to Daniel Buttafuoco, who kind of did the converse of those drivers. So now we think it's advantage Johnston and Cohan. How quickly this race can change.
Yeah, and that really just goes to show how everything will change after 1 caution flag. I don't know if the 30 has enough tires in his pit box now to try to come back even here. That'll be really interesting, as we see a lot of these other drivers having to line back up here as the field gets the 1 to go now. And, a 3-car breakaway. The other 2 lead lap cars are all the way at the end of the pack, restarting in the, 20-something-ish position. So this might be a 3-car race for the win between the 30, the 21, and the 28. Everyone else 1 lap down, and, man, this is going to be exciting.
Absolutely. Got some people in the chat. Todd Kirkwood seems to have retired the Desert Hobbies. Let's see, has he retired the Desert Hobbies machine? Looks like he has. Said that he got some engine damage after clipping the pit wall on exit of the pit lane under his pit stop. Hondo Longmire saying Chambrone is used to getting lapped. He does it every week. Man.
Ouch.
Not only that, he says that he does it to Chambrone every week. Double ouch. Green flag about to wave here for the field. Pace truck heading down pit road. Buttafuoco is your race leader. Nick Cohan to the outside has fresh tires. How long can Daniel hold on to the race lead? It might not be very long. A little bit of wheel spin for the number 30 on the restart. And Nick Cohan just whips around the outside. New race leader in that number 21 machine, Bob.
Advantage fresh tires here as Nick Cohan able to get the power down that long back straightaway. And now Buttafuoco about to come under fire here by the 28 USAA machine of Tim Johnston. That'll put Johnston up to second, but if Fuoco falls back to third, he has a long way to fall if he wants to go back to fourth, however, as the rest of these cars behind him are lapped cars. So this is going to be really interesting to see what happens for the rest of this race. Can Fuoco somehow get these tires to level out and have something for the leaders? Or is Fuoco just kind of stuck where he is with 33 laps to go?
John Borst throwing a huge block on Tristan Maher, the number 98 machine, now going to try and do an over-under, trying to just slice in there as we have a little bit of three wide. Jimmy McKee on the top side, Ben Izenga, and now Jason Freeman on the inside. We know Jason Freeman has been very aggressive here tonight in that number 20. How about this? Three wide at the Milwaukee Mile, contact between Izenga and McKee. McKee has to check up a little bit. Good heads-up driving out of the number 10. And he's unfortunately going to slide back in to the 11th position, although he now has a look to the number 17. They're catching up to Jason Freeman as Freeman really backed up his entry into turn number 3 there. Now Nick Chambrone and Tristan Maher going to battle. This is some crazy racing back here. Look at Anthony DeBarro. Looks like he's moving out of the way. In fact, that was a battle for position, between Josh Gerlach and Anthony DeBarro. Move the 71 now up into the top 4. How about that? But then let's look at this battle as Chambrone to the inside of Borst. Borst goes up the racetrack, almost contact with Maher. Bob, they're fighting for every bit of track position they can get at this point of the race.
Man, just knock down, drag out, white knuckle racing between the 01, the 0, the 20, the 98, practically half the field involved in this battle right now. And that's been like this all races. Oh, trouble! The 10 of McKee gets turned, and the 17 of Ben Izinga off of his front bumper. And, well, looks like everyone else no worse for wear, thankfully. But, well, this is going to be interesting now with only a handful of laps to go.
So let's see what happened here to Jimmy McKee. Right here, working his way through turn number 1 and 2, and Ben Izenga gets just on the loud pedal a little bit too early, gets into the back of the number 10. Maybe Kevin Stone in his machine also getting a little bit of damage as well. Let's look out back here of Jimmy McKee's number 10 machine. He's unfortunately going to fall back to the 13th position. Here comes Ben Izenga right there at the apex. Izenga gets on the loud pedal, boink. And Jimmy McKee just kind of keeps it locked up. Man, I think that was Bill Edwards just squeaking on through in the number 50. Someone killed the blue cone, R.I.P. cone. But luckily, a lot of the drivers able to get away without minimal damage. I know Jimmy McKee, he's going to lose a little bit of track position. Ben Izenga might lose some track position as well if he's deemed the reason for that caution. Now here comes Anthony DeBarro coming down pit road. Daniel Buttafuoco thought that he might come down pit road if he had a set of tires left. Don't think he did, but DeBarro's now coming down pit road. Meanwhile, your top 4 of Cohan, Johnson, Buttafuoco, and Gerlach all staying out. So now DeBarro's going to have fresh tires as cautions, potentially breeding cautions here in the late running with now under 30 laps to go.
Yeah, and especially with how tight and close these drivers have been racing tonight, this will be interesting, especially now that you see here the 0-1 is your lucky dog for this caution period. So the 0-1 put him back up on the lead lap, and it's going to be wild watching him try to get his way through the field because Nick has been quite aggressive throughout this race, throwing blocks, diving his car in underneath other drivers, and it's going to be fun watching him slice his way up through the field, especially now with 28 or so laps to go. Math was never my strong suit.
Yeah, so Nick Chambrone is the lucky dog, and Hondo Longmire saying only on Mondays, maybe. So, the love continues for the Knicks here tonight. But Nick Cohan is your race leader. So I'm sure that will make some of the chat a little bit irate as well. Hashtag Nick still sucks by Young Gibbs in the chat. So maybe that we can get that trending on the 3Wide TV Twitter channel here tonight. Not sure. But he is the race leader, coming to 26 laps to go this time by, if I can do the math. Muff Duff saying, why are Cohan's cars always so ugly? I think there's definitely some bantering going on in the chat, that is for sure. Don Runkle in the chat as well. Man, they're just pouring on the love for the Knicks here tonight on the channel. That is for sure. Tim Johnson is in second, Buttafuoco in third. Gerlach, DeBarro, and Nick Chambrone. Now your 6 lead lap vehicles. Tristan Maher is in the lucky dog position as they run, with Jason Freeman, Kevin Stone, Bill Edwards right back behind him, hoping to see another yellow to get back into position with an opportunity to win this race. But it is going to be very, very difficult to dethrone some of these drivers up front who have been lightning fast from the drop of the green flag here tonight. I believe this is caution flag number 4. Will we see caution flag number 5? That will be the question for the chat. We'll put up a poll there, Bob, but hopefully we don't. Hopefully we can wrap up this race with 25 laps to go this time.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really good 25 laps to go when they get to the green flag. 21 to Nick Cohan there on the inside. Timothy Johnston on his outside. 5 of the 6 lead lap cars all right here, nose to tail. Pace truck taking a look to make that quick left-hand dodge into pit road, and the green flag is out, and we are back racing. 25 laps to go here at Milwaukee. Nick Cohan, a great jump there on the restart. The 28, Tim Johnston, not so great. I don't know if he might have spun his tires a little bit or what, but Cohan looks like he was shot out of a cannon as he drives the field down the back straightaway with the 28 of Johnston and everyone else in his wake.
And look at Anthony DeBarro with those fresh tires, trying to slice his way up through the field in the DeBarro sliders, number 27. This is side by side with Josh Gerlach. This will put DeBarro back up onto the podium position, so you see the scrum of cars back behind him. Sure enough, DeBarro makes that pass thick. Now just 2 cars between himself and being up at the front of the field. Look at Jason Freeman getting around Daniel Buttafuoco as well. Tristan Maher in that number 98, now no longer in the lucky dog position. You see Mike Floppy Tellier there. He is 2 laps down in the number 97, right on the back bumper of Maher as they work their way out of turn number 4. But you can definitely tell Buttafuoco's old tires on the number 30 definitely not helping him at this current stage of the race, as he's going to lose that track position to the number 97 of Tellier. How things swing very, very quickly. Up at the front of the field, new second place driver Anthony DeBarro closing in here on Nick Cohan in the number 20. This is the battle for the race lead, Bob.
And if I'm Nick Cohan, I'm saying, oh man, I don't want another repeat of what happened last week and losing the win on the very last corner, or not even the last corner, the last front straightaway of the last lap. But here's Anthony DeBarro. He's going to take a peek to the inside of Cohan. They're going to be really tight coming out of turn number 4, but like you'd mentioned, Peter, there we saw the 27 of DeBarro going below that yellow line, trying to pick up as much grip as possible to get an even better drive off of the corner, and you know, he's able to stay right on the back bumper of that 21 of Cohan this time.
22 laps to go here, make that 21 as they go across the start-finish line. Some good battles further back in the pack as well, but this is the battle for the race lead and what could be for the race win. Nick Cohan, Anthony DeBarro 1-2, Tim Johnson in 3rd, Josh Gerlach is in 4th as they run. DeBarro has his right front fender, almost had his right front fender to the left rear of the number 21 and Nick Cohan as they go through the corner, but DeBarro's got that run. Coming out of turn number 4, he is going to go back to the race lead. I don't think Anthony DeBarro has led since the first 30 laps of the race, but now with 20 laps to go, back out front here at the Milwaukee Mile. Let's look at that battle for the lucky dog position, because that battle continues to rage on between Jason Freeman and Tristan Maher. Freeman is in 7th, Maher is in 8th. As they run right now, Nick Chambrone is catching up to Daniel Buttafuoco, so we will keep our eyes on that, which will be the battle for 5th. But Freeman here and Maher in a really good battle and an important battle if another caution flag was to eventually come out. John Borston, Jimmy McKee, the 0 and the number 10. Poor old Jimmy McKee has definitely been in the wars here tonight in that number 10 Chevrolet, but he can still get a top 10 finish. In fact, he is running in the 10th position as they currently cycle their way around the 1 mile racetrack. There's Daniel Buttafuoco on those old tires, really starting to struggle, at least relative to your front three. Finally getting back past the number 97 of Tellier, who still runs 2 laps down. Borst here in the 0 is in 9th. Jimmy McKee is in 10th as well. Borst in the grass, sliding, and maybe found a ghost or something that scared him out of turn number 2 and had to use the vacuum to suck it up. And he did suck it up, was able to get back up onto the racetrack, but not without losing a spot to both Jimmy McKee and Bill Edwards. Borst now finds himself down in 11th in the Luigi's Mansion number 0 Toyota.
Yeah, man, what a save there by Borst. I don't know how he was able to keep it off the inside wall and keep it going in a straight line, because it is hard to control your car when you're all the way down there like this. But as we ride on board now, look at this close battle with the 98 machine of Tristan Maher and the 20 of Jason Freeman. And this right here is the battle for the lucky dog. Freeman has it, Maher wants it. And they touch!
And that's a caution. That was enough for a caution. And Bob, these were your 2 drivers racing for the lucky dog, and neither of them are going to get the lucky dog. How about that?
Man.
That just changes everything. And I believe iRacing gives the lucky dog to the next eligible person, which I think would be Jimmy McKee, believe it or not. Let's go back and get that one here on the 3Y TV replay. But that was enough for these drivers to not pick up the lucky dog. Pretty crazy.
Wow. What a turn of events there. And man, the 20 the 98 just got right into the back end of the 20 there. A hard hit to the inside wall by Jason Freeman. So, man, I'm a little bit surprised. And that was an iRacing caution. The caution was not thrown by one of the TNR admins there. So this is an iRacing caution, and just enough there, and a lot of contact and a hard hit to the inside wall there by Freeman.
Yeah, let's see if well, that's the wrong. Here we go. Let's go this one. I mean, you have to think that Jason Freeman was opening the door for Tristan Maher. Let's go back and get just one more look. I mean, Maher was a little bit away from the yellow line there and got into the number 20. But Freeman was definitely given a little bit of room, I would say, to Tristan Maher. They just had it coming together. There's Daniel Buttafuoco going on by. But that was a very interesting accident, and one that both of these drivers I'm sure they will wish that they had back, because they made themselves ineligible for that lucky dog spot. And going back to the lucky dog spot, it is actually going to fall to the doubles, or the 0, not the 00, but it's going to fall to John Borst. So not sure if something happened to Jimmy McKee, because I thought Jimmy McKee was in front of John Borst, because we just saw John Borst going through the grass. But somehow, some way, the lucky dog is going to be the 0 of John Borst. So
Very interesting. And, well, as we say that, looks like Jimmy McKee has also been waved around the pace car. So, well, we'll see how this one plays out, because it looks like the 10's getting his lap back, and also possibly the 0.
So, double lucky dogs. Lucky dogs are wild here. Pretty crazy here at the racetrack. Hondo Longmire saying, wonder how this plays out now. Don Runkle still hoping. Nick Rex. If you were wondering about the poll, we just ended the poll. 50% of the chat said yes, we'd have another caution. 50% of the chat said we'd have another caution and Nick would cause it. It wasn't quite Nick. Maybe we can still blame it on Nick. I don't know. But yes was the right answer. Either way, yes ended up getting us another caution, but nobody voted for no. So everyone who voted, you're right. in one way or another. Congratulations on getting it. And Muff Duff saying it was still Nick's fault. So there you go. You've heard it from Muff Duff. If Muff Duff speaks, Muff Duff is correct in our chat. That's how things work here on 3Y TV. The chat is always correct. It's just like the customer, Bob. The customer is always right, if you've heard that term. Well, here on 3Y TV, we don't really have a customer. I mean, I guess we kind of do. It's kind of total nonstop racing. Although Garrett Gleason, he might get a kick out of that. But it's the customer. And the customer in our case is the chat. They even both start with C, so it just makes sense. Hondo Longmire is saying 100% facts, though. So I think we figured it out. Folks, if you haven't already, hit the like button on the video and subscribe to us here on 3Y TV. But hey, meanwhile, Pace Truck's about to head down pit road. We got about an 11 lap shootout here, Bob.
This is going to be wild here. Green flag is out. The 27 of Anthony DeBarro gets a great jump from a good push as well from the front bumper of the 28 of Timothy Johnston. And now Johnston looking to the inside of Nick Cohan. And they're going to be side by side down the long back straightaway.
Yeah, side by side for second. Nick Cohan, Tim Johnston. The chat has some invested interest in this one, that is for sure. Johnston looking to the inside, and look who's starting to poke his nose for third. That's Josh Gerlach in that number 71 Toyota Supra. Back in a little bit squarely on entry to turn number 1. These drivers trying to get every little bit of grip out of these cars late in the race. The lap count is winding down now. Inside 10 laps to go. And Anthony DeBarro already out to a second lead. A little bit of a hip check. Gerlach gives another hip check to Nick Cohan. And Cohan way up the racetrack. Here comes Daniel Buttafuoco on the inside in the number 30. We're almost 3 wide down the front stretch. 9 laps to go.
Some incredible racing now as here's the 01 of Nick Chambrone trying to put his nose in there underneath the 71 of Gerlach. Now here's Cohan able to get up off the corner ahead of Buttafuoco as well as the 71 of Gerlach. These guys all nose to tail as they head off into turn number 3.
Yeah, and right now it is Gerlach who has found himself into the 5th position, colloquially known by the people in the chat as Garlic. And Garlic right now keeps the vampires away. He is in that 5th spot, trying to keep the Knicks away right now, as he's got Nick Chambrone right on his rear tail in that Warheads Tony Hawk Pro Skater 01 machine. Jimmy McKee, John Borst, both of them got their lap back. There they are. They're locked in a battle for the 7th position. How about that between these two drivers as they go side by side through turn number 3 and 4. Give the spot to Borst in the Luigi's Mansion machine. But up at the front, you're not missing anything. Anthony DeBarro still holds on to the race lead. Second spot right now is Tim Johnston. Nick Cohan is in 3rd in front of Buttafuoco. Gerlach is in 5th. Not seeing a whole lot of side-by-side. Maybe Tristan Maher and Kevin Stone. This is a battle for the 12th position, as we're down to just 7 more to go here. 6 as the leader goes across the start-finish line. But this has been, again, one heck of an interesting race, Bob. Total Nonstop Racing League always knows how to put on a show for the fans. And definitely they are getting their money's worth once again here on the channel.
Yeah, Peter, that's for sure. I mean, we've seen pretty much everything here. Some good, tight, close racing, long green flag runs, but on top of those long green flag runs, we had some great battles all in between. Some great battles there between the 20 and the 01. Some trouble there. Garrett Gleason gets sideways into the wall. No caution as he's able to get his car quickly off of the racetrack. But, I mean, we've seen just about everything, as I believe that's the 83 of Austin Grover slow off the track, and oh man, hard into the wall, and Garrett, nowhere for him to go, and the 83 just kind of tumbles his way down the back straightaway.
Someone needs to give the flagman a shot of adrenaline or something. Must be sleeping, although maybe it's just because Super Grover is doing Super Grover things, flying up into the sky, doing barrel rolls on the backstretch there. We got 4 laps to go. We stay green flag. My, oh my. DeBarro up to a 1.5-second lead or thereabouts over Tim Johnson. Best battle for position right now is between Nick Chambrone here in the 0-1 and Josh Gerlach in front of him. Buttafuoco in the number 30, just starting to scoot away just a smidgen. Meanwhile, Tristan Maher's close in on the back of Ben Izenga. Izenga, of course, got the front end crumpled in, the rear end crumpled in the Air Canada machine. And just trying to hold on for dear life right now inside the top 10 as he runs. Last week's race winner from the Texas Motor Speedway. Kevin Stone also battling with Jason Freeman as we have now just 3 laps ago. This is the battle for 12th spot. So looks like Stone is going to take that spot away from Freeman. Maybe Freeman finally has used up too much of those Goodyear tires. We have seen him slip sliding his way around this entire racetrack here tonight. But up at the front of the field, if we don't see a caution flag here in the next quarter of a lap, it will be the white flag for Anthony DeBarro coming out of turn number 4. And how about that? He sees the start-finish line. White flag is in the air, and it looks like Anthony DeBarro, barring another crazy, wacky, zany finish like we saw last week at the Texas Motor Speedway, where we saw someone, J.R. Hildebrand, coming out of turn number 4. Looks like Anthony DeBarro is going to get to victory lane, but I said that last week at Texas, Bob, and it didn't happen. Maybe DeBarro can see a clean front stretch this time.
Let's see, as he comes off of corner number 4, a clean front stretch in his eyes. Anthony DeBarro is going to win the Childhood Memories race here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, that number 27 machine decided to save a set of tires. Great call for the number 27 machine, excuse me. And he will go to victory lane. There goes Daniel Buttafuoco on by. He's going to come home with 4th spot. Tim Johnson, of course, 2nd. Nick Cohan in 3rd. What an exciting race here tonight. It definitely had its twists and turns. At one point, I thought Buttafuoco had the winning call, but late race cautions have set things back for him. There's Josh Gerlach giving him a little bit of a bump. Here comes Nick Chambrone to give him a little bit of a nudge. Can't say he didn't earn it here tonight in that number 27 machine. There, John Borth giving him a little bit of a nudge as well. I think he still got fuel in the tank on the 27 machine. Just a lot of these drivers giving him a little bit of a congratulatory bump before he burns it down here on the front stretch.
Yeah, what a great run and a smart run there by the 27 of DeBarro. Just a really good strategy down there on pit road, able to save a set of tires there for the end, and wound up coming down pit road and battling back after an EOL penalty. And DeBarro wins the Childhood Memories 150 here at the Milwaukee Mile.
And of course, one of the drivers who did not participate in the Childhood Memories, unless DeBarro Sliders is somehow a childhood memory, maybe we can ask about that. But nonetheless, we'll have to find out what the childhood memories of Anthony DeBarro are like with him not participating. In fact, unfortunately, all 3 of our top 3 finishers did not participate in the special paint scheme race. Maybe we can all disqualify them. I don't know. We'll have to wait and talk to the in-race administrators and, of course, the chat. No, just kidding, chat. You can't disqualify them. Even if you wanted to, Cohan's going to finish 3rd here tonight. So don't get any ideas just yet. But that number 27 is going to get to victory lane, and we'll get to talk to our top 3 finishers here in just a moment on 3 Wide TV. Definitely one heck of a show here tonight. Bob, let's see if we can grab them all and put them kind of in here into the waiting room for a quick interview. Why don't we dial up that 3rd place finisher? Bob, why don't you take it away there with Nick Cohan?
Right now, I'm down here on pit road with the 21 machine of Nick Cohan, our 3rd place finisher. Nick, Bob Giaquinto up here at 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Bob.
Hey, Nick. Well, definitely a much less exciting last lap for you this time around here at Milwaukee, but a good run for you. A bit of a pit strategy there, or a couple of dueling pit strategies, rather, between you and the 30, and just kind of take me through your race tonight.
Yeah, Milwaukee is one of my favorite tracks. For for some reason tonight, I just couldn't figure out. Normally, I'm really good in the long run at Milwaukee. In just about any car, I've been pretty good in the long run here, but I don't know what it was tonight. I just couldn't figure it out. Either that or Anthony and Tim were just that much quicker tonight. Tim really had the long run figured out. He was flying out there. But no, it's just trying to play the tire strategy. You only get 2 sets of tires for 150 laps, so no sense using them until you think it's getting close to the end, and that's what pretty much all of Dizzy did here at the end, and worked out pretty good. I think we had 5 of us and the 6 of us in the top 7, so that's a pretty good result as a team. But for me personally, happy with top 3. Just wish I could have done a little bit better in the long run. I tried to change in brake bias, and just nothing seemed to be working. I tried shifting earlier on in the run, and it would work for a couple laps, and then the rears would get too hot. So it just couldn't really get it figured out, and we'll take the 3rd.
Fair enough. And well, Nick, this is the Childhood Memories 150 tonight, and obviously your car not sporting a childhood memory paint scheme. What do you think would be your childhood memory paint scheme if you had the choice?
Well, I had one in mind, but I just didn't get to do it. I didn't have enough time, but it was going to be Now That's What I Call Music, one of those old CDs, but now what I call Music 3, because I think that was the first one I ever got. I just didn't have time to paint one up, and I barely had any practice in here. Got in here a little late, but that was a CD. I used to get those every time they came out, but I really like Nick Shambrone's Warheads car. That's awesome out there, but I just couldn't think of anything else that was easy to paint, because that was really, really hard to paint, that logo and whatnot. So I couldn't think of anything simple, and I didn't have enough time. But that would have been mine if I had the time.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think they're on now 49 or 50 or something. So somehow it's still around, and maybe next year we'll see a now 52 out on the hood of that 21 machine. Looking to next week now, Talladega, the super speedway, kind of a wild card race. Are you looking forward to that race? And what are your thoughts as we head there next week?
I think I actually am looking forward to it. I'm not, it's not my favorite style of racing, but we have a pretty fun group here, so I think it'll be pretty exciting. With the super speedway stuff, it could really be a crapshoot sometimes, and which for me makes it fun, because you never know what could happen at Talladega. We get the white flag and everybody starts wrecking. You can go from 25th to the top 3. So. And to be honest with you, sometimes I root for that, because that makes it really wild, and especially for the broadcast. But just probably gonna, just like every race I've been in so far this year, save the car and be there at the end, because you can't finish in the top 5 if you're going to be smashing bumpers up in the first 20, 30 laps of a race. Doesn't matter where you're at. So that's been my goal pretty much every race this year. So we're probably going to do the same thing. Might just ride around in the back. We'll see. Have to talk with the team on some sort of strategy we'll come up with. And it'll be fun to figure out, though, with pit stops and whatnot. It'll be a pretty exciting race, especially for you guys in the booth. I'm sure we'll put on a good race.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to next week's race. Nick, before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs for us?
First, shout out to Perk Coffee for being on the car, CJ Automotive, Beer Hill Gang, Circle Jerk Podcast, Always Race Day. Of course, all my teammates at Disney Motorsports. Big finish for us, top 6 out of the top 7. Like I said, that's awesome. Little shout out to some of my buddies watching the broadcast. I saw they were commenting, Don Runkle and Hondo and Muff. Big shouts to them for cheering us all on. Also, shout out to Joey Gattina, 3 Wide TV. You guys do an awesome job. I love going back and watching this stuff. And of course, TNR for putting on this league. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, Nick, congratulations on the 3rd place finish this week, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there on the track next week at Talladega.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
And
all right. Well, that's Nick Cohan.
Quick correction there, Nick. They were definitely not rooting for you in the chat here tonight. I've seen most of their comments. They were definitely not rooting for you. So I'll let you go talk with them about that. But Yeah, definitely a lot of fun having them in the chat here tonight. Best of luck next week.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, that's going to do it with our third place finisher here tonight. Now we have to go down and find our second place finisher, his Dizzy Motorsports teammate, driver of the number 28 machine, the USAA toy in the number 28 machine. Of course, next week is we go to the super speedways. What are your thoughts about going to the big tracks next week?
I guess for me, it's a love-hate. Usually I either finish in the top 2 or 3 or end up getting crashed out, but it's definitely a race of teammates. So it'll be interesting just trying to make sure you keep the nose clean and be around at the end of those.
Absolutely. Definitely is going to be a lot of fun. But, tonight was a Childhood Memories 150. And we did talk to Nick Cohan, asked him the question since he didn't have a special paint scheme here tonight. And, of course, you had the USAA scheme here tonight. If you were to do a special paint scheme for a childhood memory, what would that paint scheme be? Maybe you thought about doing one. Maybe you just didn't have enough time. But I know we got a lot of people in the chat who'd be curious to know.
Yeah, I just kind of ran out of time. It would be black with a gold bird on the hood because my favorite movie when I was a kid was Smokey and the Bandit, and I actually have a 78 T-top black and gold Trans Am, so that's probably what it would have been.
That is really, really a cool idea. Hopefully we get to see that on the race car at some point. Hopefully you can bring that out and get that painted up in some time for us to see it. Maybe next season we'll do something similar and we can see it then. But Tim, hey, congratulations on tonight's runner-up finish. Before we let you go, any shout-outs?
Yeah, I just want to thank my sponsor, USAA, Amsoil, Hot Wheels, McGuire's, Advocare, Hawkinsfeld, all the guys at Dizzy Motorsports who have the best team in iRacing, Thornton Graphix, Max Graphics, SimShots, CJ Automotive, and you guys for putting on a great broadcast every week.
All right, we appreciate it, Tim. And hey, second place, not too shabby. That is for sure. Congratulations. We'll see you next week at Dega.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right, that's going to do it for tonight's runner-up driver of the number 28 machine. Now let's go down to victory lane with tonight's winner driver of the number 27 machine, Anthony DeBarro. Bob.
Anthony DeBarro, Bob Giaquinto here in the 3-Wide TV booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great, Anthony. Well, I'm sure you're doing a lot better. You got the win out there in the Childhood Memories 150. And, take us through your race. I mean, some differing pit strategies out there, and yours wound up getting out there on top.
Yeah, I just want to start by saying sorry to 13 James Varela for getting into him there. I know he's racing really hard with Nicholas Chambrone, and they got into a little contact, and I just didn't check up early enough, and I sent him around for that caution. But, yeah, I got lucky. I mean, so I knew I was going to get an EOL there for being the cause of that caution. So I said to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm only going to be 6th here. I'll just save that set of tires in the pits. And there at the end, I just had a 5 to 10 lap tire advantage on those guys and just able to drive around them. And the tires made me look like Superman. So we had a good car, but I think Tim had the best car, and me and Nick were right there neck and neck. But overall, I mean, like, great team for the team. 1, 2, 3 finish. You can never get your head down about that.
And I think we were talking with Nick earlier, and he said it looks like 6 out of the top 7 drivers were all Dizzy Motorsports guys. So I'm sure that's got to be huge for you guys and your team. And, Anthony, taking a look here in the chat, there was a question, I believe, from Hondo Longmire, rather. He said, ask DeBarro if he's scared about Wednesday night's race against the lawnmower.
Oh yeah, it's a little ongoing joke with me and Hondo, and basically Hondo's a scrub and he thinks he can hang with the champ. So I don't, he ain't really gonna keep up, but he's gonna try, and I'll wave to him when I'm lapping him. That's for sure.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one for you guys. Obviously, this week's race was the Childhood Memories 150. You had DeBarro sliders out there on the hood of your car. If you had to run a Childhood Memories themed race car, what would you have ran for tonight's race?
Oh, I honestly don't even know. I mean, there's so much, like, I can't even maybe NASCAR Heat or something like that along those lines. I just so much thinking back to being a kid, and there's so much I could put on that car. It wouldn't be enough real estate.
Fair enough. And well, next week, Anthony, we're looking at Talladega. What are your thoughts there heading in? Because it can definitely be a bit of a wild card.
Probably Jesus take the wheel and see what happens.
Fair enough. Well, Anthony, before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs for us?
Yeah, you guys in the booth, thanks for what you do every week. And the guys at TNR for all their work behind the scenes and making this whole deal happen. I mean, we have a great group of guys here, and it's fun every week, and I look forward to every Monday.
Awesome. Well, Anthony, congratulations on the win, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there next week at Talladega.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Well, Bob, some great post-race interviews there with our top 3 finishers here tonight on 3 Wide TV. That is for sure. I'm sure a lot of the chat enjoying them. But hey, it is time to bring up tonight's final race results here tonight at the Milwaukee Mile, taking home the win. Driver of the number 27 machine, Anthony DeBarro, here in the Childhood Memories 150. Tim Johnson coming home in second. Nick Cohan finishing in third. Daniel Buttafuoco in the number 30 coming home in fourth. Josh Gerlach is in fifth. Nick Chambrone in the sixth position. John Borst coming home in seventh. Jimmy McKee in eighth, exactly where he started. Bill Edwards and Ben Izenga rounding out your top 10.
In 11th, Tristan Maher. Kevin Stone comes home 12th. Jason Freeman 13th. Mike Floppy Tellier 14th. Stephen Kegman 15th. Jason Shue 16th. Stephen Dosiak Jr., the winner of the Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash, comes home in 17th. Austin Grover in 18th. In 19th will be the 7 machine of Garrett Gleason, and James Lorello rounds out your top 20.
And taking you through the rest of your field here tonight, Lupe Gonzalez going to finish in 21st, Colin Ullery 22nd, Todd Kirkwood 23rd, Briar Fritz, and of course our in-race official Justin White did not start here tonight, as Justin was, of course, the eye in the sky for all of these drivers, but they pretty much minded themselves throughout this race here tonight. But what a great race it was here on 3 Wide TV. That is for sure. Definitely going to be a lot of fun next week at the Talladega Super Speedway. Same time, same place here on 3 Wide TV. That, of course, will be August 9th. Man, we are flying through 2021. That is for sure. At 8:30 Eastern time will be the start of qualifying. Going to be a lot of fun there, Bob. Maybe we'll see a different winner this time next week from someone we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Talladega is always one of those wild card types of races. I'm actually looking forward to strapping into the driver's seat myself for that race next week. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure, and I'm really looking forward to Talladega here on 3 Wide TV.
That is definitely the case. Folks in the chat, we've enjoyed your company here tonight on the channel. Isn't that awesome to say? It's always fun when we get someone in the chat who gives a little bit of banter out there. But until we meet again, stay safe, and we shall see ya!